What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I'm the real Jussy.
I'm Peter Parkour.
We're the Distorted Theorists, and this is a distorted theory.
So this is actually going to be a distorted theory, one of hopefully a long line of discussions, deep dives into trailers, possibly movies. But today we're going to be discussing Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. Now, again, we took a little break after sci-fi here in St. John's because we wanted to figure out what we want to do, where the channel wanted to go, some more in-depth stuff. And this is going to be the first, hopefully, in a long line of videos regarding this kind of stuff.
And I mean, the name says it all, the Distorted Theorists. We've been trying to sink our teeth into a really good distorted theory for you guys, and none other than Black Panther Wakanda Forever was the place to start. But if you guys do enjoy our distorted theory and you definitely want to see more, as always, guys, if you want to support the channel, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and this is one video you're definitely going to want to leave us a comment because we don't want you to hate us, just debate us. And that is what we love. We love the interaction with you guys and seeing what theories you guys can come up with.
And again, like this, like Justin said, this is our theory. These are stuff that we're talking about. I mean, there might have been something online that has come up regarding any of this stuff that's like, no,
everybody's debating this movie right now.
I know, there's a lot of speculation regarding this stuff. This is just what we're thinking. If we're wrong, tell us. If we're right, tell us. But that's it. We're not looking to start a fight.
Yeah, we're not stirring the pot or anything like that.
We're looking to start a Discord.
Well, it kind of started when me and you watched the trailer and we both had our own ideas and we were like, all right, we got to discuss this. We got to get this out in the open. So we brought in this distorted effect just for you guys. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to show the viewers right now a small first part of the Wakanda Forever trailer, and we're going to dissect this one just for you guys. Are you ready to jump into it? Yeah?
Absolutely. I've been waiting for this.
Let's take a look at this trailer right now.
No woman, no cry. No woman, no cry. Hey, little darling, don't shed no tear. No woman, no cry. Good friends we have and good friends we've lost along the way. In this great future, you can't forget your past. So dry your tears, I say.
All right, let's start right from the beginning. The opening shot when Nakia stood on a beach, no woman, no cry, playing in the background. The first thing that I reached out to you and said caught my attention was the hair length. This is a very good sign, in my opinion, that Nakia was not blipped because in the first film, I'll put the still up right here, her hair was super short. To get that length, that's like 2 feet. I did some research. There's no way that her hair, she did not get blipped for her hair to be that long.
He did the math.
I did do the math.
I'm not going to say that this isn't the case. I mean, this could just be a continuity thing. I mean, we've seen this stuff in movies before, going from scene to scene. Someone will have papers in their hand, and then in the next shot, they've got it in their other hand, or it's a different set of papers. I'm not saying that this didn't mean that she was blipped or wasn't blipped. I mean, we don't know, and maybe this will talk to us about it. But it just could be the hairstyle that worked for her for the movie too.
It was just like a little thing because like it's one of those things where we're still trying to figure out who was blipped, who wasn't, because there's still a little bit unknown. But this was just a sure tell sign for me. The other thing I want to point out right here is you can see in the beach in the corner pocket right here,
right there.
There are some footprints. So, and it looks like a lot. It's not something that she would have made. So is she waiting on the beach for like with an army? Like, what do you think? Does that mean anything? Nothing?
It could be some quiet disposition. I mean, we know what happens at the very beginning of this movie in some way, shape, or form. We don't know how it's going to be described, but we know that T'Challa has passed in some way because we did lose the great Chadwick Boseman. But in terms of this, so maybe this is just some reflection on her part that she's just looking out to the water. But it could be, again, we do know from this trailer, if you've watched our earlier reaction, that that Atlantis is involved in this. And they're water-based. The
main thing I'm taking away is she waiting them for teamwork purposes, or do you think she's waiting for attack purposes?
I don't know. There's only one way to find out.
We're going to see it.
Yeah. All right, so in this scene, it's a little bit hard to tell, but if you look on the old woman's throne.
Inside joke, ladies and gentlemen.
I know, it's Angela Bassett. It was in the middle of a trailer. I just kind of spat that out, and I got some heat for that.
Yeah.
So on the Queen's throne, you can actually see what looks to be a conch shell. And conch, I mean, have you ever read
Lord of the Flies.
Lord of the Flies. I couldn't
Lord of
think
the
of it for a
Flies.
second. That was the one. There's that conch shell.
Yeah,
It's used for communication.
Right. So I'm wondering, again, looking at this as a double narrative, is the conch to call Atlanteans for help?
Or is it a trophy?
Or well, that's what you said. You said, like, did they defeat the Atlanteans at one point? So how do you think that would have went down, though? Like, when in a timeline, do you think, like, way past, or
we haven't gone back to watch anything with Black Panther 1. There might not have been an idea with this at the time, but I don't remember seeing a conch then. And, and we did hear in, I believe it was the beginning of Endgame, when the Dora Milaje did make the comment, we've had seismic activity off the coast of Wakanda. We have to deal with that. We have to leave it alone. That was the first inklings of anything happening with possibly Atlantis or Namor.
Yeah.
So maybe at that point, leading up to whenever, what is this?
Yeah.
So,
like, and why is it so predominantly just sitting on the throne? There has to be a reason that it's being presented in the trailer as well.
and this is a gathering too. I just thought of this now. That everyone is
It's a council meeting.
It's a council meeting, but maybe they're expecting to receive somebody from Atlantis, like a messenger or a diplomat.
That makes sense.
And maybe this would be like, hey, remember when we kicked your ass? Or maybe it's like, this is a sign of respect. This is a gift to us. We're keeping this in total.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, this is almost like a 3-scene segment. We know that it starts off with all these folks, people gathered in white garbs. They're dancing. One thing it could not shake off my mind with this theory, Peter, is if a lot of people have been saying this is the funeral, okay, or the send off for T'Challa, sorry, whatever. But I have to say that this is way too happy for people to be celebrating life. I don't care if T'Challa's dead, no one's dancing and smiling. I mean, this guy over here is smiling, this person over here is smiling. If you take a real close look at the back people, they are all smiling. I don't think this is the funeral. I actually believe that, as you will see in this still, where Shuri is carrying Black Panther's helmet, again, people dancing, people smiling, I think this is actually the scene of the new coronation of the new Black Panther, whoever that may be, whether it be permanent or in the interim.
Yeah, it could be at the end, but at the same time, and this is just my thing. It's Wakanda. We don't know what their traditions are.
This is true.
This is not. This is a completely non-existent
Fair
nation in our. This could be everybody smile.
Yeah, I know. I was just like, man, if your king died and you're celebrating his life, you still would. I'm just thinking you would still be upset.
I agree.
Right? So the only reason that Wakandans would be happy is new king, new ruler.
Maybe this is celebrating the end of the blip.
Could be that too. Maybe the return of everyone.
And maybe this is before they realize that T'Challa isn't returning.
That could be. Let us know in the comments. What do you think?
Okay, so at this point in the line of this, it was too easy for this part of, like, this whole song is part of something that we'll eventually talk about.
Gotta be.
But there's like this line of the song is like, good friends we have and good friends we've lost. Now, obviously, we're going to assume that this means that, again, they're talking about T'Challa and Chadwick.
Right. But
we lost somebody who was trying to do something.
They were trying to do good for Wakanda. Yeah, let's look at the...
But he just did it the wrong way. Killmonger. And
one thing also I could not shake watching this trailer is, as you can see on our screen right now, this shot right now is overlooking the valley. You also see that I've compared it with something that reminisced when I watched Black Panther 1 recently, is this shot is almost exactly from the scene where Killmonger died, and they looked at the sunset, which he talked about his dad saying the beautiful sunset in Wakanda. I couldn't shake, like, why is good friends we have and good friends we've lost playing at this exact moment? Now, I will take a second to contradict myself even, because again, it's all theories, is if you look at this shot right here from the new trailer, the water is coming towards us and the city is at the back. However, in the Wakanda Black Panther 1 trailer, scene, the water is going away from the city, so this very well could be opposite sides of the mountain range, you know what I mean? But again, it was too similar to ignore. And here's another thing. Now, I don't even know if I told you this yet, is if you look down in the bottom right corner of the new trailer from Wakanda Forever, does that not look like a shoulder coming into frame of someone overlooking the valley? Could it be Killmonger?
No.
Okay.
This is
Tell me
just
why.
me. I'm not saying no. It's because I noticed this at the beginning of it too.
Yeah.
But that doesn't change. I think it's just that like lens flare that just keeps
From the sun?
Yeah, like as if you look at the rays that are coming down there, I think, and you can actually see like a little prism effect there, right in the corner of it.
I know, but I feel like it could be a swerve.
It could be.
Could be a swerve. You know what Marvel's
Marvel.
like? But I had to speak about it because I seen it and I was like, what's going on down there, right?
But again, what we mentioned earlier, where we talked about the song too, like no woman, no cry. There's points that I want to try and make about it, but there's just something that I'm like I can't quite form something out of it. And Marvel's sneaky like that.
They are, and that's the
Yeah.
thing. That's what we're doing this theory is to see if we can pull out a string that eventually becomes unraveled and be like, shit, we were right. You know what I'm saying? All right, we all know this scene here, the birth of Namor. I'm not even going to theorize about that. It clearly looks like what's going on here. But what I do want to talk about is we're introduced to the word mutant. Okay, Namor, you told me, was one of the first mutants in the comics.
Well,
right?
this is the thing. He was considered to be one of the first mutants in the comics. I could be wrong about that, but he wasn't one of the first mutants. One of the first mutants was
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse,
Right. But he was introduced in the comics as one of the first.
Yeah,
mutants.
like this is I think before the X-Men were even. No, they were at 63. I don't know. Yeah. There's something about I never like really looked in depth into it, but I believe that he was considered to be the first mutant of the Marvel Silver, Bronze, Golden Age, whatever it is.
Okay. But the main thing here is this woman in the water is giving birth to. I'm thinking Namor is going to be somewhat or half Wakandan, or his mom was Wakandan, his dad was Atlantean, or vice versa. He does have fins on his ankles. I didn't notice that in any Atlantean scenes that we will see in this trailer. So I don't feel like he is a true Atlantean. Now, from the comics, maybe he's not.
I don't think he is. I think he's...
I think he has a tie to Wakanda more than they're letting on here.
Yeah, well, and that's part of it. And we're going to get into that in some way, shape, or form. I have some ideas about that.
The other thing about it, if you look really closely here on the still, is the midwife or whoever is receiving the baby from this lady, the doula. You'll notice that if you watch the trailer back, she suddenly takes the foot, and looks at like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Like, this is not normal. So will he be shunned from Atlantis or Wakanda, vice versa, and he's forced to live?
Maybe this is a sign of royalty. Maybe this is something along the lines of
like a foretold story,
like a prophecy. Like, okay, the leader of your country or your nation will be born with fins wings on their feet.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a thing, and maybe that's how he becomes the Submariner. I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about Namor. I know in the comics he's a bit of a dick. And it looks like he may be kind of portraying that in this movie as well, but again, I will tell.
All right, well, with that, let's watch some more of this trailer and break down some more scenes.
Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright now. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright.
I am queen of the most powerful nation in the world!
So, all right, and this is just something that I picked up, and I mean, it's something small. This is either going to be, well, there's a bunch going on here that could mean nothing. So, in the headdress, we can't really get a look at who this is because they're obscured by the water, by the light that's behind them. So that's either Namor or the last king or the last ruler of Atlantis. Could be his
Because you also
father.
can't see fins or anything. You can't see his face, so...
But the other thing is what is he in front of? That's not an iris of the water. That's something.
Yeah.
So is this
is
harness
like-
technology? Is it something else coming out? Is this what he's going to use against Wakanda? Did Wakanda use it against him? Did he stop it?
Yeah, I feel like this is something we might need the commenters to let us know what's going on here, because I don't really have a theory for what that orb is. I assume it will probably be the most desired power of the movie that like everyone's kind of fighting over or needs to harness in order to win against Wakanda, Atlantis, whatever. But if you guys know what this is or you think you have a theory on it, definitely let us know that in the comments.
Definitely
below.
underwater, but yeah. All right, cool. Moving on. Yeah. So okay, in this scene,
Yep.
you actually see, so leading up to this, we saw the boat, we saw the tech that was going, the
Right.
diving bells, all
Right.
that stuff, and then we see a bunch of soldiers. Now, there would be no reason for soldiers to actually be involved in anything if it was in Wakandan sovereign waters or whatever it would
and
be.
even Wakanda versus Atlantis, there's no soldiers needed at that point. So
Right.
what are they doing here?
And
What do
in
you
this
think they're doing?
shot,
Yeah.
you don't see any markings on this soldier. Usually they've got a patch denoting what kind of forces
just
are with.
camo.
Now it could be it's on the other side of him. I'm not totally sure, but he is forcing someone whom I believe to be Wakandan to access this blue wall of light and everything like that. That I'm assuming he wouldn't have been able to open up, but
Right.
as someone that's Wakandan or someone
Let's
who has
say
the
it's
right
facial
credentials,
recognition or whatever. Yeah.
and accesses them there. So this is where one of my big theories is going to be coming into for the movie.
Let me have it.
Is that if we know that Atlantis is in the movie, we know that Wakanda is involved. It's Wakanda Forever. We've seen shots in this trailer of, well, what we assume really and truly. We've actually really only seen M'Baku fighting against Namor. I don't think there's any other shots with Atlanteans
And no one
fighting.
throwing a punch anyway.
Right, it's only that shot of M'Baku. Like, But anyways, if there is going to be a conflict between Atlantis and Wakanda, I think it's a fabrication. I think that there's someone behind, like almost like a Loki that's pulling the strings. Because if
Like
there's
they
no,
want them to fight for some reason to
Yeah.
take out their forces or something.
well, if there's no
weaken their
markings
forces?
on them that they can be either like incinerate or they can't figure where they're coming from, so that this was an attack by Wakanda, this was an
yeah,
attack
yeah,
by
yeah.
Atlantis, and no one is in the wings to be
I
like,
have a question
"Oh."
for you.
Yeah,
Who do you think is pulling the strings? If
I
that's the
would
case?
have no idea.
No,
I don't,
no villain or anything.
I don't. Well, if we're looking at the Kang dynasty, so I can't even figure that this would be something related to that because he's usually involved in time travel or something.
Yeah. And he's usually hands-on from what we know.
But you know who's someone in the comics who's had issue with like Wakanda and Black Panther before?
Does it start with a D?
Yeah, it does. Doctor Doom.
I knew he was going to say
Doctor
that.
Doom has had
Listen.
his hands in the pot, so maybe these are Latverian soldiers. I don't know, and we won't.
Anything is possible.
Right. So, and like again, if the two sides fight against each other,
Weaken the forces.
weaken the forces.
Someone
Even the
pick the
victor
bones.
is likely weak, so you can take them out, take their stuff,
Right.
or at least be like, oh, okay, well, you win. I'm just going to go and grab the tech.
I got to talk about this one for a second. I've been staring at this scene for way too long. First of all, it looks to me like this is a straight up dream sequence or Flash or something because
Fire on water.
fire on water
Doesn't really work.
It doesn't really work. The other thing, I got to point out the obvious. She stood in a white dress on this pillar surrounded by water. Her dress is bone dry. She's not, from what we can tell, it's not wet, it's anything like that. So first of all, how did she even get in the middle? And if the water did crash in over the windows and all that, like we see, she would have been swept away. And that was in the daylight. This is in nighttime. I can't help but think, Peter, man, that this is like a premonition or some kind of vision or something.
Maybe this is what happens for Shuri if she eats the
like goes to the, what's it called?
the shadow realm.
Yeah,
That's
no, it's not the shadow realm,
the
but
ancestral plane.
The ancestral plane.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
Hey!
So I mean, maybe this is what she sees, but there's, like you said, fire on water just don't make sense. She's in a white dress, seems symbolic of something right there.
And she's looking towards something that we
like
that's
like
dark.
100% that dark section. There's someone edited that there in Marvel. I'm telling you right now, someone is in that doorway.
Or that's where she needs to go.
I'm thinking it's Marvel. They got somebody edited out.
So in this scene right here, we see Shuri.
Big scene.
Well, I don't know if it's big. It's introducing somebody.
Okay.
We see somebody who is this is Riri Williams. If we looked at the IMDb page, this is Riri who's going to be playing Ironheart in some
Which I'm
way,
kind of
shape,
stoked
or form.
for. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, Ironheart in the comics is like the new Iron Man.
Yeah.
Really and truly. So, but where was she in the first film? Was she
blipped?
Well,
You know what I mean? The one thing that did come to my mind when I seen this is like her and Shuri seem to know each other well. Okay, let's put that out there. Shuri was confirmed blipped. So if they either both were blipped or one or the other was blipped, how did they know each other so well? So the only thing I could come up with, in my theory, is if Shuri was blipped, maybe this was a younger, could be a sibling, could be a friend, and now they grew 5 years older, so they're more similar in age. And we'll find more about that in Thing.
Well, maybe she took over for Shuri while Shuri was blipped too.
And maybe that's how she got access to tech to make the suit.
My thing with that too is, so at the end of Black Panther, I was gonna say Ryan Coogler. No, T'Challa basically says, you know, we're gonna open everything up for Wakanda to the world. Now I'm sure
This
there's
is
still
true.
restrictions and everything like that. So
Well, she could be a student,
be
MIT
a
student or something,
student.
sent over abroad or anything, really, I guess.
or she could have just been like, she could be another Wakandan. She could be a refugee. I don't know. There's just.
So many variables.
I know, like, and maybe she was just visiting when everything happens with Atlantis, and she was like, oh wait, I know how to make a microprocessor arc reactor thing that can blow everything up.
I do. This came to me late before we recorded this video. I do want to point out this still right here, where her outfit is very reminiscent in the shot of an Ironheart suit.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and you can see the comparison. I got them put up here for you guys. You'll see it's very orange. Got the midsection. I don't know. It looked like a little Iron Man suit nod, or Ironheart nod suit. Sorry. So I thought that was really cool.
I'm just wondering too if this shot is near the end of the trailer. Or not the trailer. It's in the middle of the trailer, near the end of the movie, because where they're so established and they're just like, okay, this is the hierarchy.
She does say, and this is the part where, well, first of all, I want a quick thing. Shuri is wearing a black dress as opposed to a black hoodie earlier in the trailer, so this could be very reminiscent of funeral, whatever. She is smiling here, and they do a little handshake, so coming off a funeral, probably not going to be happy. But the song plays, everything's going to be all right.
So what if she's Shuri now, where Shuri could be the new Black Panther? Because if she's got her duty, she can't be Tony Stark and working on the stuff while going to be the active Black Panther.
Learn from mistakes.
Right. So if she's just going to be Black Panther, maybe someone has to take over the tech, and maybe Riri is the new Shuri.
I like that.
Yeah?
We didn't talk about that. I like that.
All right. So my question to this is, why are the Atlanteans kneeling around Namor? We saw this.
He's a child.
He's a kiddo here. We saw this plantation-esque house up in flames. Did Namor do this?
Or is he witnessing that someone...
Is he witnessing? Did someone in his family die? Was he living just as a normal kiddo? He seems like he's got some kind of ceremonial belt there too. Looks like he's got swim trunks on. So I don't know. There's a lot more to this, but why are they already kneeling around? Was that prophecy that we talked about earlier coming through?
Yeah.
And this is his royal guard.
Yeah, do you think, I was just about to say, do you think he's royalty and being regarded as such in this film?
They're kneeling around him. They're not like knocking him away. They're not dismissing him.
And he is clearly they have blue skin. One thing we do want to notice is that he is not blue skinned. So that tells us that he isn't true Atlantean. I guess they're leaning on that from the comics, which is good. But if he can be on land, why would he be royalty of Atlantis if he's not Atlantean? How do you even get to the throne at that point?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. So I'm wondering if this was something that was preventing him from being king, if this was something that was, I don't know. It's a young Namor. Things are, so.
This is where we need more to be told.
Yeah. And maybe this is kind of something else too, and I just literally just thought of this. Namor and Aquaman are similar characters, DC and Marvel, and I'm wondering again if it's the same kind of situation where the Atlantean queen, or whatever, like Aquaman, is it Atlantis? Yeah. So Aquaman's mom was royalty, and she got it on with Jango Fett.
Right.
Boba Fett and all the clones, really, and then produced Jason Momoa. But then I wonder if this is just kind of the flip from it. If there was his dad and his mom and his whole
Actually
thing.
makes a total sense and would make more sense why he's an outcast a little bit. If he makes that.
Because Aquaman was, and maybe he is, but maybe he's got some like guard around him because Willem Dafoe was what's his face in Aquaman for a young Jason Momoa.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So he was still part of that. He just didn't accept it, but he was still shunned.
Good point.
Maybe there's a brother. Maybe there's a Patrick Wilson-esque brother.
And down the hole we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Distortion. Okay, so in this scene here, we see I don't even know what these ships
Well,
were
those
called.
ships, so again, I did just finish watching Black Panther 1, get a little refresher. Those are Wakandan ships.
They are.
They're the ones that are sent out when Killmonger takes over the throne. He's like, we're going to attack
But
different parts of it.
did they ever give them a name?
Not that I'm aware of.
That always
off the top
reminded me of
my
like
head, but-
dragonflies.
Yeah.
So anyways, these Wakandan ships, we think they're Wakandan. Maybe they're piloted by Atlanteans. I don't know. And they've headed, I'm assuming,
This
north
very
to the
much
Jabari.
looks like, the Jabari tribe for sure.
And I think in the scene that's right after this is M'Baku
looking
staring
up.
up straight.
That's
So
a
is this-
swerve, I do believe, though.
Well, it could be, exactly, you're right. But at least we know that M'Baku, which we've seen from the trailers before, he is involved in this.
yeah. I don't know. So, I
Maybe
think
M'Baku breaks the breaks what happens in the treaty between Wakanda.
maybe he has beef.
Yeah, maybe he thinks he thinks that the Atlanteans are doing something to him.
I do want to take a second because this is also a theory that we didn't notate before but when I watched Black Panther, I did catch it. So in Black Panther 1, when Killmonger throws T'Challa over the waterfall, okay, the rescuers of him is M'Baku and the Jabari tribe, okay? However, I noticed now seeing this trailer and having seen this trailer, I noticed that he says T'Challa was found on the beach by one of our fishermen. I'm wondering if we're going to see some kind of CGI. Obviously, Chadwick's not going to be in the movie, but what if the movie opens with his body floating down that river, getting tossed, because that would be something they could pull from Black Panther 1. He hits the river, floating dead like, and an Atlantean saves him at the mouth of the river, lays him on the beach, and then Jabari fishermen come out to the beach with their poles and find him. That would be a cool tie.
Yeah.
That's something like he was saved at one point, so that when redemption comes for Namor later, maybe it was Namor or a kid Namor, whatever.
That's not bad.
And my entire family is gone. Have I not given everything?
So right there, once again, using all the music and the dialogue, which is obviously she's in the throne room saying it, but they're showing that she's in a courtroom and all this stuff. She says her entire family is gone. I just want to touch on that right quick because my theory on that is this scene is taken care of in the blip. I think we're going to see a little past exposition there. Then she says, have I not given everything? But I mean, we know Shuri was blipped. We know T'Challa was blipped. Her husband is dead from the first Black Panther movie. So right then, she would technically have no one. So why else would she be saying that?
She's only got the Dora Milaje.
Yeah, exactly, right? But she says her family, so I don't know. Pairing it with the conch, I'm thinking, again, going back to the conch on the throne, something tells me that while the blip had happened, T'Challa was gone, Shuri was gone, Wakanda would have been just coming off the heels of Infinity War at that point. Would their armies not be completely desolated?
Yeah,
so
maybe they needed Atlantis.
Yeah, like I'm thinking like, okay, we're all blipped here. Let's have some kind of treaty where we don't fight, we help each other. But in this movie, now the treaty has come to an end. Now that everyone's back, it's not their fault that their king is gone for whatever reason. Again, I can't wait to find out what happened to T'Challa. But like, do you think there's any likelihood to that?
There's a good chance. Like again, it's a theory.
Yeah.
We're spitballing here. I think they're grounded in some reality. I'm hoping we don't ruin the movie for ourselves.
Well, listen, I mean, it's theories are theories. If we're right, we're right. And if we're wrong, we are wrong. That's it. We take the roll with the punches.
So, and we also saw T'Challa there too. We saw a shot of our king.
Yeah, I mean, and the people around him is wearing white, so I assume that is all taking place out on the either the ceremony or the funeral, whatever's happening there. But it was nice that they give a little callback to him. I'm really hoping I want to see that justice, and I definitely want to see how. I want to see how.
Yeah.
That's the big one.
So in this part here, we actually see Riri.
She's working on something.
She's working, yeah, exactly. She's working on something, and we can see, like, I mean, there's like, looks like little capacitors, there's wiring and everything there, but she's hammering out onto like a very thin piece of metal, or she's hitting leather. And then in the following shot, when we see
which
the
you guys see right
pop
here,
out, that's big. That's like
thick
cast
metal.
iron.
Yeah.
So I believe there's two different shots that she's working on. I don't think this is her actually punching out.
So what do you think she's working on in the leather scene versus the Ironheart scene?
In this, I think she's just working on tech for herself for something that we might see coming up later in the trailer when we see her on the bike, potentially.
Yeah. I'm wondering if she's working on something that she's not really letting on to Wakanda she's working on, and all of a sudden she shows up in the suit and be like, oh, I did this while you guys were paying me to work on this.
This is Sentry 2 or something.
Yeah.
But we definitely get to see her working on something. It's the same hairstyle that she has in the scene where she was with Shuri before, so maybe this is closer to Win. I'm not sure exactly, but she's working on something. And something I thought was really nice too is, like, I don't know if it's on purpose, but if she's supposed to be the next Iron Man, where did he make his first suit?
I never even pieced that
Which
together.
which was in a big cave, and in this, she's in a cave, and
Yeah.
she's just hammering
Oh,
something
that's
there.
definitely.
Isn't that kind of cool? I thought of that.
That's not even a theory. That's Hondo P.
Yeah. And it was just, you had that whole like clink, clink, and that's what she's doing here.
Everything's gonna be
I know.
all right.
So in this shot right here, we see something attacking the Atlanteans on what is very likely, I don't know if that's Wakanda because I can't really tell. Some of the buildings on this side
I feel like it is though.
But regardless, the Atlanteans themselves, our blueies, are looking to jump right in the water, and Namor.
Well, they want to get where they're comfortable, and he's just like, I'm gonna stand my ground.
Right.
But I mean, he's not even phased in this scene.
No,
so,
he just knows it's coming.
You know, does he have any superhuman abilities that if he did get hit, he'd be like,
Oh, yeah.
shrug that off?
Oh yeah, he's like bulletproof.
Well
yeah.
then. Well, you wouldn't be running into the water then.
But still, I just think it's kind of weird. He's still wearing his little trunks and everything from when he was a kid, so he should probably get some new
packing.
sets. I don't know. Yeah, and I think we get to see M'Baku try and take him out at some point too. There he goes.
See, I seen this. I know it's probably Mayan or Aztec or whatever.
But again,
But
that's
it kind of
that
looked like
whole-
Shang-Chi stuff. So I didn't know if there was a tie there.
Well, traditionally with the Aztec, Quetzalcoatl, the ancient, I guess, Mexican designs, Mayan, all that stuff, they did have like snakes/dragons and everything
Yeah.
like that too. And this is what this is indicative of. It does, and I think it's kind of cool. I think it's a South American or Latin in origin.
There's also another thing that I can't shake is with Namor, with all this gold, with the belt, with the, are we going to see in Wakanda Forever another piece to the Shang-Chi, Miss Marvel bracelet puzzle? He had the rings, Miss Marvel had the bracelets. Seems like they're all in the same tech. Is he going to have some sort of tech?
Oh, I'm sure there will
same-
be. I'm sure it's like Aquaman's
Yeah.
quindent, quad dent. He doesn't have a trident. Something like that. There's probably something for him that is really and truly the source of his power, or what at least amplifies what he can do. But right now, it looks like he's in very ceremonial wear. But I just thought that was cool. Now we're gonna get to see, like, well, where do they come from? Well, maybe Atlantis was an offshoot from the Gulf of Mexico or something along those lines.
Fair enough. Okay, so I also noticed in this one right here, the Atlantean, I'm going to assume, is stabbing whatever that is. I'm not even going to bother that. But
light,
what
I'm
I want to
guessing.
touch base on is that she is white-skinned, same headdress.
As in not blue.
As in not blue, exactly.
Not blue anymore.
Exactly. Has the same headdress, the same war pieces on her uniform as the blue Atlantean we seen on the bridge with the same headdress. So it kind of confirms for me, and maybe this is a thing in the comics, that when they're in the water, they are white-skinned as opposed to blue. But out of water, they have the breathing mass, and their skin goes blue. Why it goes blue, I don't know. But this is the same actress. It looks to be an actress, as was on the bridge earlier in the trailer. So it kind of shows that there is two versions of them.
In the comics, you're right. They can do this. I'm not sure totally if it goes up the ranks in royalty as well, because in the comics leading up to the events that caused the original Civil War, which was an explosion that wiped out a town, Namor's cousin, which is Namorita or Namora.
Namora is in, yeah. I think she's confirmed to be in this too.
She's not blue initially. I'm pretty sure when she's on land. So she has the ability to do this. But yeah, when they're underwater, they're not blue. When they're out of water, they're blue. This is something. But they can still be blue in water. It's a weird thing. And
I'm
again,
just hoping there's some good explanation for
yeah,
it.
and it changes through the comics because comics really like to confuse us. But it is a thing.
Anyway, I just wanted to point out it looks like the same actress, again, assuming actress, playing two different roles there. So I'm really anxious to see how they play that off.
Yeah.
Just right quick on this one, Pete. I do believe that this is... looking at it, I feel like it's Shuri and Riri maybe doing some shenanigans outside of Wakanda. In this scene in particular, I do believe that you got Shuri on the motorcycle and the red car. For some reason, I'm thinking Riri's in there.
What about Nakia?
No, I don't think she's not.
She did it in the first one.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not. They showed Nakia at the beginning of this. They showed her twice in the trailer, and then they kind of ghosted her for the rest. So I never really had much theory to say about where she fits into this movie yet. Maybe Black Panther trailer 2 will show us something. But I'm wondering, like, did T'Challa's death cause Shuri to rebel? I mean, she was always rebelling, flipping off her mom in the first one, you know. So if T'Challa's not around to keep her in line a little bit, maybe she leaves Wakanda and like, I'm just going to enjoy my life. She talked about how she wanted to go to Disneyland, California, remember in the first one? So she's just like, maybe she's going to do her, meets up with Riri Williams' character, and maybe she spirals out of control doing some stuff she really shouldn't, like stealing cars, stealing stuff, maybe fighting off bad guys.
Right, because this isn't Wakanda, because there's
Don't
an
look
actual...
like it.
No, because they wouldn't have street signs like that.
But then the other thing is, what if they get caught by the powers to be, like Everett Ross's character?
Bilbo?
Yeah, and like maybe they get brought back to Wakanda, and maybe Angela Bassett, her mom says, like Ramonda says, you know what, Riri can stay here. I'm keeping you guys out of trouble. Maybe develop a friendship.
This is what you need.
Yeah, you need something where to channel your smarts.
God, this movie's going to be huge.
I know. And here we are at the culmination of the trailer. I had to end off on the big note. Who is in the suit, Pete? It's the biggest thing that everyone's theorizing about, so...
It's gonna... the next trailer is going to show it.
I have my thoughts.
They're not going to keep this going until the movie actually releases. They're not going to do this. If they do that, it's just the silliest bit of marketing ever.
Well, listen, I do have a little theory I want to talk about first. Who's in the suit? I just watched Black Panther 1. I know it's a little different, but Marvel has a tendency when they go from one movie to the other, they change suits a little bit, and make it fresh looking, cooler looking. T'Challa's dad. When he was younger, in his younger days, he showed up to, I can't remember what it was, New York or wherever, and he was wearing a very gold-laden suit. I paused it back then, I looked at it. I'm wondering if this scene is actually like young T'Chaka wearing the original Black Panther suit, we'll say original, and maybe this guy in the background here is like Namor's dad or something.
That is...
Or is Namor like, because he's mutant, maybe he doesn't age the same, so maybe that's Namor back then, he was defeated by T'Chaka, now he's coming back for revenge. I mean, I'm just thinking it might not be as cut and dry as Black Panther versus Namor in this scene. It could be old Black Panther versus Namor's dad versus Namor in the past. I don't know if this is current present time is my theory.
What if this is someone taking up the mantle of Black Panther during the blip? Because when T'Challa got blipped, his suit went with him.
And who took up the mantle then?
Right. So
that's what I'm saying. Are we going to...
maybe this is what has happened during the... Maybe this takes place during the blip.
And that's what I'm saying. Maybe the whole movie does, for all we know. Well, I didn't get no Shuri's back, so that was a bad theory. But I don't know. I don't think it's as cut and dry as people are... Marvel never lets it on. You know that. So they're hiding something. I know you did mention about Lego was spoiling something. What was that about? Like, does that play into what I'm thinking?
Well, yes and no. So there was a Lego kit that was revealed, quickly taken down, but it talks about like a throne room battle or whatever it is. And it shows Black Panther, the new Black Panther suit, and it's Shuri. Shuri is the Black Panther. Oh,
really?
In this, but... Lego has been known to spoil a lot of things accidentally before because they have to get this stuff to manufacturers and they have to show so other people someone Toys R Us can be like, oh yeah, look at this.
But the other part of me is like, don't you think that's almost too obvious for Marvel right now?
But that's what I'm wondering.
Like,
where this is
here's Shuri.
Yeah, totally.
And whoop-bam.
Yeah, well, they could easily be like, hey, we're just going to use this for a second. Man.
I got to ask you though. You know my theory. I think we're getting...
is it distorted?
No, it is distorted. I think we're getting Killmonger back as Black Panther.
I don't think we are. I think Killmonger is...
Michael B. Jordan not coming back?
No, I think that he's going to talk to whomever becomes the Black Panther after they eat whatever the flower is, because he ate the flower, so he's going to be in the ancestral plane. He's not going to be like...
Maybe he could walk out that black door we talked about with Shuri in the fire room.
Like, so you want to come and talk to your uncle, do you? That'd
be cool though.
Or cousin or whatever.
That'd be cool though. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, this movie has so many unknowns that we had no choice but to come here and do a distorted theory on it. We had to dissect it. We had to give you guys our light, shed some light on it, what we thought. And I mean, I hope we're right when we go to the theater.
I wanted to make this...
What's your expectations?
I wanted to make this video like 15 minutes.
Yeah. Not happening. Not happening. We had too much.
What are my expectations? Well, seeing as this is the first time that we're actually going to deep dive, and this is the most in-depth that I've ever looked at a trailer for Marvel, I'm hoping that I'm right, but I'm hoping that I'm going to be pleasantly surprised at the same time. I don't want to go into the like, well, this is what's going to happen, and me sit through the trailer going, or the movie just going, oh yeah, I did call that.
I don't know. I think that'd be pretty funny. But I mean, in the future, we know in a couple days, D23 is starting. Fingers crossed for a new Black Panther trailer dropping shortly after you see this video. And yeah, you think so?
Come on!
We got to see something. But that's a theory for another day.
Give me Denzel!
As always, guys, if you do support the channel, you enjoy our content, if you could, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and this video, as we said, definitely want to see your comments. I am the real Jussy.
I'm Peter Parkour, and like we always say on the channel, keep it real.